I think they're going to come out and say Fort Knox is loaded with gold, and we're going to increase the price of gold to $5,000 an ounce, jack it up another 70%. They did it before, they'll do it again. And this way we get rid of our debt. And here's a big one. Oh, by the way, the other thing that's not in any of the Western media is speaking about the Israeli genocide. They have thrown out 40,000 people out of their homes in the West Bank. Oh, and by the way, this West Bank settlement is a bullshit word. It's in violation of the Geneva Convention and Article 242 of the United Nations. You have no right being there.
You're watching Silver News Daily. Subscribe for more.
Silver is standing at the edge of a financial explosion, and almost no one is paying attention. The global economy is unraveling, currencies are collapsing, inflation is spiraling out of control, and central banks are scrambling to secure real assets. Gold has already broken past $10,000, sending shockwaves through the financial system. But silver? It's still sitting far below its true value, artificially suppressed by decades of manipulation. That won't last much longer. History has shown us what happens when silver wakes up. It doesn't just rise, it slingshots. In 1980, it skyrocketed nearly 800%. In 2011, it surged from under $10 to almost $50 in just a few years. And now, with economic turmoil at levels we've never seen before, silver is gearing up for its most explosive move yet. Gerald Celente and other top analysts are warning that silver could shatter records, surging to $500 an ounce as the financial system buckles under its own weight. But here's the catch. When silver moves, it moves fast. The masses always wake up too late. By the time mainstream investors realize what's happening, supply will be gone, and prices will be out of reach. The question is, will you be ahead of the curve, or will you be left behind as silver becomes the most sought-after asset on the planet? Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly why silver's next breakout isn't just coming. It's inevitable.
25 years ago, slimeball Bill Clinton brings China into the World Trade Organization. Back then, look up the data, 10% of 18-year-olds in China went to college. Now, after 25 years of being into the World Trade Organization and their economy going in directions they would have never dreamt of before, because if you look at their GDP from 1970 to 2000, it's like that, and then it shoots straight up. Now, nearly 70% of 18-year-olds in China are going to college. What does this have to do with AI? Everything. Young people are AI, high-tech addicted. Now you got 1.4 billion of Chinese people compared to what, 330 million Americans? 335, whatever the number is, like something like that. 335 million against 1.4 billion. Everybody's, the young generation, they're tech addicted. They're going to, China, we are forecasting, is going to be the world leader in AI and high tech. And that's going to bring down these companies that have overinvested in AI. And that's going to cause a dot-com bust. And this is your Trends Journal when it used to be a quarterly. Now it's a weekly. And if you want to know what in the world is going on, it's the grand total of $2.56 a week, US dollars. Nothing. .com this. This is fall of 1999. .com overload will short circuit many high expectations for huge profits in internet commerce, entertainment, and a wide array of .com services. Following the holiday season, many of today's high-flying internet stocks, the hottest IPOs and newly emerging IPO wannabes, will have begun their deep descent from their overvalued heights. And we said by mid-2000, the fallout from the falling .coms will have worked its way through Wall Street.
Silver has always been gold's overlooked shadow, lagging behind at first, only to explode past expectations when the market finally wakes up. This isn't speculation, it's a pattern we've seen time and time again. In 1980, as gold soared past $800, silver didn't just follow, it surged from under $6 to nearly $50 in a matter of months. Then, in 2011, as gold broke past $1,900, silver rocketed from under $10 to almost $50 again, delivering gains of over 400%. But here's the key. Silver doesn't just rise, it slingshots. Gold sets the stage, but silver steals the show. And today we're looking at an even bigger setup. Gold has already shattered expectations, breaking into five-figure territory, while silver remains drastically undervalued. The gold-to-silver ratio, a key metric used by investors for centuries, is flashing a massive buy signal. Historically, when this ratio is as extreme as it is now, silver doesn't just catch up, it overcompensates, delivering some of the biggest percentage gains in the entire financial market. The reason? When gold rallies, it draws in the big players, central banks, hedge funds, institutional investors. But silver? That's where the retail flood comes in. The masses have yet to wake up to what's coming, but when they do, history tells us what will happen next. The silver market is a fraction of gold's size, meaning even a small wave of new investors can send prices skyrocketing. The question isn't if silver will follow gold's lead, but when, and more importantly, how high it will go. With history as our guide, a silver price of $500 isn't speculation. It's simple market mechanics. But this time, it's not just investor demand driving silver's breakout. There's another force at play, one bigger than anything we've seen before. And it's coming straight from the heart of the global economy.
Big picture. And here's a big one. Oh, by the way, the other thing that's not in any of the Western media, they're speaking about the Israeli genocide. They have thrown out 40,000 people out of their homes in the West Bank. Oh, and by the way, this West Bank settlement is a bullshit word. It's in violation of the Geneva Convention and Article 242 of the United Nations. You have no right being there. So, again, that is something that is, we're saying you got to watch what's going on over there, because if they escalate this war, the whole game changes, and they're escalating it. Now, going back to one of our trends, a dot-com bust 2.0. Let's go back a month ago. All of a sudden, yay, I never heard of a DeepSeek before. Well, you're hearing it now. Oh, what's DeepSeek? Oh, they're this AI Chinese company that, no, you don't need those big NVIDIA chips. So what did NVIDIA stock go down on Thursday? 8%? Yeah, after they came out with their better than expected earnings. No, they weren't that good. Here's the deal. Trends are born, they grow, they mature, reach old age, and die. The AI trend has just been born. It was born in 2022. We're only in 2025 now. It's a 3-year-old baby. Do you invest everything you're going to invest in the first company that's the top of it? That's like investing in the first automobile in 1886. This is going to be the company and nobody else is going to be there. We're investing everything in this model. We're going to keep investing in that kind of model, and that's what they've done. In this whole AI, where trillions of dollars are being invested, they're going for the first model that's been invented. And now the Chinese came out with a different model. Nope, doesn't cost $100 million. We could do it at a fraction of the cost, maybe $6 million. Don't need those big chips. Oh, we don't need these big power plants that you're building to make those big chips. Out of the news. Let's go back to China. Again, as I said to you, in trend forecasting, all things are connected. Let's go back to 2000.
Silver isn't just a precious metal, it's an industrial powerhouse. And right now, demand is accelerating at a pace the market simply isn't prepared for. The world is going green, and silver is the irreplaceable element fueling that transformation. Solar panels, electric vehicles, 5G networks, every single one of these industries depends on silver, and consumption is hitting record levels. Let's talk numbers. The solar industry alone accounts for nearly 20% of global silver demand, and that number is only climbing. Governments are pouring billions into renewable energy, with mandates for net zero carbon emissions, pushing solar production into overdrive. And here's where it gets interesting. Silver's role in solar panels isn't just important, it's essential. Unlike other metals, silver has no viable substitute in high-efficiency photovoltaic cells, meaning that as demand for solar energy surges, so does the need for silver. And it's not just solar. The electric vehicle revolution is ramping up, and silver is embedded in every battery, circuit, and electrical connection. By 2030, EV production is expected to triple, and with each car requiring up to 50 grams of silver, the industry alone could consume more silver than the world's mines are currently producing. Add in 5G infrastructure, medical technology, and the explosion of artificial intelligence-driven computing, and the demand curve for silver isn't just rising, it's going vertical. But here's the problem. The supply side isn't keeping up. Silver mines take years to develop, and many of the world's top producing regions are facing declining output. Unlike gold, which is primarily recycled, most silver is used up in industrial processes, meaning once it's consumed, it's gone. We're already seeing signs of strain. Physical silver inventories on major exchanges are shrinking fast, and refiners are struggling to meet the rising demand. This isn't just a supply crunch, it's a crisis in the making. The moment investors realize that silver isn't just an inflation hedge, but a critical industrial metal in short supply, the rush to secure physical silver will send prices into uncharted territory. And when that happens, the paper silver market, the system that's been artificially suppressing silver's price for decades, will be pushed to the breaking point. And that's when things really start to get interesting.
Those bombs away over Syria. They violated the ceasefire agreement in Lebanon. You're not allowed to talk about that. Oh, what did they have 5 outposts they've taken in southern Lebanon, bombed the hell out of entire villages. Oh, and now they've reneged on their peace agreement. Well, we didn't like the humiliation that Hamas showed when they returned those hostages. Hey, what does that have to do with the peace agreement that you made? Oh, and how about the humiliation that you showed against the Palestinian people by putting on those T-shirts with the Jewish flag and the humiliation? And and they're not hostages in the prisoners, the tens of thousands, or about 12,000 in the Israeli jails that they're living in hell. Oh, they're prisoners. How come they're not hostages? So now they violated that. They're going to keep this war going. And now they're talking about ramping it up against Iran. If that happens, again, the wild card, the whole game changes. And you'll see oil prices skyrocket. So you don't know what's going to happen.
For decades, silver's true value has been buried under a mountain of paper contracts, derivatives, futures, and ETFs that give the illusion of an abundant supply. But here's the shocking truth. For every ounce of real physical silver, there are hundreds of paper claims. The banks, the institutions, the financial elites, they've spent years manipulating the system, flooding the market with phantom silver to keep prices artificially low. But what happens when the illusion shatters? We're already seeing the cracks forming. Physical silver inventories are dwindling at major vaults like the COMEX and LBMA. The registered supply available for delivery is plunging, and in some cases, silver is being drained from reserves at an unprecedented rate. The banks know this. Why do you think JP Morgan spent years amassing the largest private silver hoard in history? They understand what's coming. This is the setup for the biggest short squeeze the silver market has ever seen. The moment investors start demanding real physical metal instead of paper promises, the entire system implodes. The banks won't be able to deliver, the shorts will be forced to cover, and the price suppression game will come to a violent end. Just look at what happened with nickel in 2022. A short squeeze sent the price soaring 250% overnight, forcing the London Metal Exchange to halt trading. Now imagine that happening to silver, a metal far more critical to both industry and monetary history. And here's where things get even crazier. Governments and central banks are positioning themselves for this exact moment. They've been hoarding gold for years, preparing for a global financial reset. But what they're not telling you is that silver is just as crucial to this transition. Throughout history, silver has been used as real money alongside gold. When confidence in fiat currencies crumbles, and it's already happening, silver won't just be an investment, it will be a lifeline. The coming monetary reset isn't some far-off theory, it's happening now. And when trust in paper assets evaporates, silver will finally be unleashed to find its real free market price. The only question is, ni sasuwa. Will you have secured your position before the masses wake up? Because once they do, there won't be any silver left to buy.
27% last year. It's up about 11, 12% now. And, we said that the Israel and Ukraine war would keep ramping up and it would do damage on a lot of different levels, and it has. And the good thing about Trump being in, and we're political atheists. We look at things the way they are, not the way we want them to be. And we call the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're not narrow-minded people that call themselves, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. Grow up. How about just having an open mind? So there's negatives and positives. What's going on? If Trump was president, when the Ukraine war began on February 24th, 2022, he wouldn't have sent over $300 billion of our dough to Ukraine, and the war wouldn't have gone on like that. But on the other side, he would have kept the Israel genocide war going and done more to keep that going, as he's doing it now. So one of our top trends for 2025, and I've been at this now for 45 years. These are some of my books. Trends 2000, it was an international bestseller. Trend tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine, on and on. Publishing the Trends Journal since 1991. Never before has one of our top trends for the new year been wild card. Anything could happen. It's a wild card out there. And there's the Trump card playing the wild card. It's the Joker's wild. Again, he never said anything like this. This guy's in what? A little over a month. Look at all he's done. Again, like it, hate it, whatever. Look at all that's going on. Never before in modern American history has somebody taken office and done so many different things. All these executive orders he signed, on and on and on. The wild card is dealt. And so it's a guessing game in a number of different directions.
The global financial system is on the brink, and central banks know it. Decades of reckless money printing, skyrocketing debt, and economic mismanagement have set the stage for an unavoidable reckoning. And here's the harsh reality. Governments won't warn you before it happens. They never do. But behind the scenes, they're making their moves. Look at what's happening right now. Central banks are hoarding gold at record levels, buying more in the last few years than at any point in modern history. But here's what they're not telling you. Silver plays just as critical a role in the coming monetary reset. For centuries, silver was real money, right alongside gold. It was used in coins, stored as wealth, and traded as currency. But as governments shifted to a fiat-based system, silver was systematically removed from circulation and replaced with empty promises backed by nothing. Now, those promises are collapsing. The dollar, the euro, the yen. Major currencies are losing purchasing power at an alarming rate. Inflation isn't transitory, it's a systemic failure. And as trust in paper money crumbles, people will seek refuge in real, tangible assets. Gold is already leading the charge, but silver, it remains the most undervalued monetary metal on the planet. And here's the key. Silver's market is tiny compared to gold. When panic sets in and capital starts flooding into precious metals, gold will move first. But history shows us what happens next. Silver won't just follow, it will explode. That's exactly what we saw in 1980 and 2011, and now, with global debt spiraling out of control, the setup is even bigger. But there's a catch. There isn't enough silver to go around. Unlike gold, which is mostly hoarded by central banks and investors, silver is being consumed at industrial levels. The physical supply is vanishing, and once the rush begins, those who don't already have silver in hand will be left scrambling. This is why silver isn't just an investment. It's insurance. It's protection against the collapse of a system that was built to fail. And as the reality of this financial crisis sets in, the masses will wake up. The retail frenzy will begin. And when that happens, the price of silver won't just rise, it will break free. The question is, will you be ahead of the curve, or will you be chasing silver when it's already too late?
All these people that are going to be losing their jobs, guess what? They're going to be losing their homes too. You're going to start seeing a lot of foreclosures. Now I'm going to give you a trend that nobody else is talking about, and it has to do with this. An office building bust and the banks go bust. When they locked down everything for 3 years, basically, to fight the COVID war and made people work at home, the work at home trend did not go away. Some 20%, according to Moody's, of the office buildings in America, 20% are vacant. Ain't nobody there. Your office occupancy rate, according to Castle Systems with a K, is around 51%. All right? Now, 5 years later, now these leases are all coming up. They weren't coming up back then. Now they're coming due. There are between $2 to $4 trillion worth of commercial real estate loans coming due this year and next year. You're going to start seeing foreclosures. They're not going to be able to pay their debt. The banks don't have the dough to cover it. So let's go back to 2023. 3 banks went bust in America: Signature, First Republic, and Silicon Valley Bank went bust. Gold prices skyrocketed and the markets were crashing. 3 banks. This is just the beginning. There's going to be foreclosures on building. Up here, you can look it up. Last year, a building in Midtown Manhattan, 50th Street. Sports Illustrated used to be there. In 2006, the building sold for over $300 million. It went up for auction. It was sold for $8.5 million.
The silver market has always been small, but when the world wakes up, it will be too small to handle the tidal wave of demand heading its way. Unlike gold, silver isn't just a monetary metal. It's an industrial necessity, and governments and corporations alike are beginning to realize that securing silver now may be the only way to maintain stability in the years ahead. But here's the problem. There simply isn't enough silver to go around. We're entering uncharted territory. The US Mint is struggling to source silver for coin production. The COMEX vaults are being drained at an unprecedented rate. The London Bullion Market Association, LBMA, is seeing massive outflows of physical silver, with deliveries hitting record highs. Meanwhile, governments are pushing forward with aggressive green energy policies, which are set to increase industrial silver consumption beyond what current mining production can sustain. And then there's China. While the West is distracted, China has been quietly accumulating massive amounts of silver, locking up supply while suppressing information on their stockpiles. Why? Because they see the writing on the wall. The global monetary order is shifting, and silver is a key piece of the puzzle. When a country as powerful as China starts hoarding silver while encouraging its citizens to buy physical gold, you know something big is coming. The reality is simple. There isn't enough silver left for both investors and industry. One side is going to get squeezed out, and when that happens, prices will move in ways the market has never seen before. Silver isn't just undervalued. It's the most manipulated, underappreciated, and underpriced asset in the world today. And when the cracks in the system finally give way, the retail investor, the everyday person, will be the last to know. The banks and institutions have spent years suppressing silver's price, but they can't fight reality forever. The moment the world realizes silver is more than just a relic of the past, that it's the metal of the future, the game is over. And that moment, it's coming faster than anyone expects.
The people in government are the lowest pieces of crap you could find. These are scum. You can't get a job in the real world, and they suck into the political system. So what they're doing in getting rid of all of this worthless stuff is great. But there's 2 sides to the story that they're not talking about. There's this Italian guy that I'm not so fond of. Oh, by the way, when I'm talking about Israeli genocide, you don't call me an anti-Semite. Go F yourself. As I 3 of my last 4 girlfriends were Jewish, and every one of my Jewish friends are against what's going on over there. And it was so I'm not anti-Italian when I talk about this guy by the name of Mussolini. You call the merger of state and corporate powers fascism. Welcome to America. You're not a billionaire, shut your damn mouth. You can't see the president. Hey, I'm the richest man in the world. I'm Musk. I'll tell you what to do. Oh, you got this Doge going on over there? How much money did you make off the government? $38 billion worth of deals? All right? The bigs get all the breaks. Yeah, they're doing away with all this other stuff while the bigs, hey, you want to build something? Yeah, we give you a tax break. We give you a grant. We give you a loan. You're a big. We'll do anything for you. So the bigs are getting bigger. Yeah, I agree with everything they're doing, but how about the other side of the deal? Again, $38 billion worth of government deals Musk got. One little scumbag after another telling you what to do. So bend over and be a good boy. Oh, don't raise your voice, Celente. You're still in kindergarten. Do what you're told. Stand 6 feet apart. The wind blows exactly at 6 feet. Won't get COVID. Won't get COVID. All right? Look at the little clowns running the show. And now you got the clown of the clowns. You got Trump at the lead. I had lunch with his brother, Robert, in 2017. Robert had a restaurant over here in Wasake, which I'm in Kingston, New York, across the river. And he went on to tell me that when the father died, he left the family over at $500 million worth of real estate. All right? Trump is nothing more than a little spoiled daddy's boy. Oh, like that little clown we got up here in Canada, little Justin Trudeau, another little dickless little shithead. Oh, my daddy was Pierre. Or was it Fidel? I'm not sure.
The silver awakening has already begun, but the masses still don't see it. Across the world, retail investors, those paying attention, are quietly stacking physical silver, draining inventories, and tightening supply. But here's where things get dangerous. Wall Street and the financial elites are still playing their old game, pretending everything is under control. They're betting that investors won't notice what's happening until it's too late. But history tells us how this ends. Every major silver rally begins the same way. First, smart money starts accumulating while prices are suppressed. Then, shortages emerge as physical silver dries up. And finally, the retail frenzy kicks in, sending prices parabolic. We saw it in 1980. We saw it in 2011. And now, all the signs point to an even bigger surge ahead. The Wall Street silver movement has already exposed the cracks in the system. In 2021, retail buyers stormed the silver market, nearly triggering a historic short squeeze. Major dealers ran out of inventory, premiums on physical silver skyrocketed, and institutions barely managed to contain the pressure. But they only delayed the inevitable. The silver shortage didn't go away, it got worse. And now, more people than ever are waking up to the manipulation, demanding real physical silver instead of worthless paper contracts. And this is where things go nuclear. When investors realize they can't get their hands on real silver at today's prices, panic will set in. Demand will overwhelm supply, dealers will run dry, and the banks that have shorted silver for decades will be forced to buy back at any price just to survive. This isn't just speculation. It's exactly what happened to nickel in 2022, when an unexpected short squeeze sent prices up 250% overnight. The same thing can and will happen to silver, but on an even grander scale. Because this time, it's not just investors driving the demand. It's industry, it's governments, and it's everyday people looking for a way to escape a collapsing financial system. The silver rush hasn't even started yet. But when it does, those who prepared early will be the ones who benefit. The masses always wake up last. The question is, will you be ahead of them?
The same thing with AI. It's just been born. AI is the future. Love it, hate it, want it, wish it, whatever. It's the future. But it's just been born. You don't invest in the companies of the new baby. You invest in the ones that are expanding. So we're going to look for a dot-com bust, which again will crash the equity markets. When the equity markets crash, gold prices will skyrocket. And as we said, when gold hit $2,970 an ounce, we said this is going to be a correction. Nothing goes straight up or straight down. We could see it go down $200, and now it's down over $100. So you need corrections in this, but the long term, we're bullish on it. And what's going to make it more bullish, again, they're going to lower interest rates as the economy goes down. Again, in the magazine, each week we publish what's going on. Housing starts are way down. Consumer sales are way down. Not way down, they're going down. Consumer sentiment consumer sentiment in the United States is at its worst level since the depth of the COVID war in 2021, when everything was locked down. That's how low the consumer confidence is.
Silver's moment isn't coming, it's here. The economic meltdown, the debt crisis, the destruction of fiat currencies, it's all unfolding right before our eyes. Gold has already made its move, soaring past 10,000, but silver? It remains the most undervalued, suppressed, and ignored asset on the planet. Not for long. The forces we've discussed, historic inflation, the industrial demand explosion, the breakdown of the paper silver market, and the looming monetary reset are all converging at once. The result? A price eruption unlike anything we've seen before. Gerald Celente and other top analysts aren't throwing out wild numbers when they predict $500 silver. They're looking at the same economic storm that's driving central banks to hoard gold and institutions to quietly accumulate silver behind the scenes. The signs are everywhere, but most people still refuse to see them. That's how it always happens. The masses ignore silver until it's too late. Until supply is gone. Until the price has already skyrocketed. But by then, the biggest wealth transfer in history will already be underway. Those who saw the writing on the wall, who understood silver's true role in the coming financial reset, will be the ones who come out ahead. So the question isn't if silver will break out, it isn't when. The real question is, will you be ready when it does? Because once silver's price suppression breaks, there will be no second chances. Subscribe now to stay ahead of the biggest financial shift of our generation. And remember, this is not financial advice. Always consult a professional before making any investment decisions.
And here's your wild card, and it goes back to gold and the dollar. The real United States debt is around $220 trillion when you put in Social Security, all the money that they owe. It's not 36, 37 trillion. Now they're talking about, we're going to go into Fort Knox. We're talking about gold and the dollar. I'll tell you a story. When I was a kid, about 16, 17 years old, my father, may he rest in peace, out of nowhere, he said to me, you know, I was dating your mother. They got married in 1934. And he said, it was 1933. I went over to see her. And your grandfather was packing up all his gold. He had a load of gold coins. I said, Pop, what are you doing? And my grandfather said to my father, President Roosevelt wants our gold back, and I'm an American citizen. I'm proud to be an American, and I'm giving my gold back to America. My father said to him, what, are you out of your mind? Don't do that. He said, your grandfather started cursing at me in Italian. He wouldn't stop. My grandfather turned the gold in. They paid them $20, I think it was like 84 cents an ounce, 1933, when they turned it all in. You had to turn your gold in or else you went to jail. 1935, they passed the Gold Reserve Act. They drove the price of gold up 70% to $35 an ounce. So after they stole it from the people, they jacked up the price. Now I'm going back to what Trump's going to do. They're talking about going into Fort Knox. They've been there. They know what the deal is. I think they're going to come out and say Fort Knox is loaded with gold, and we're going to increase the price of gold to $5,000 an ounce. Jack it up another 70%. They did it before. They'll do it again. And this way we get rid of our debt. We got the gold to pay for it. They'll make up anything they want. Again, quantitative easing. I thought the markets would crash in 2012. They didn't teach me about zero interest rate policy or a made-up thing called quantitative easing in Economics 101 or graduate school. They'll make up any crap they want. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking at.